Will this finally pay off? Will patience finally pay off for the Bulls in any manner this season? Now, when I say pay off, right, I don't think any of us four expect the Chicago Bulls to go out and win an NBA title. All right,
Nah.
I'd love to see it, but I don't expect that. But will this pay off at all? Sticking with patience, sticking with running it back for the Chicago Bulls this season. Your thoughts?
Well, I've
I'm gonna let
said this
Jason take it.
before. I think that if the Bulls get to the second round of the playoffs, maybe even the first round of the playoffs, I think that's a success. If they're in the top six by the end of the actual regular season, I think that's a dub in many people's books. If they don't play in the play-in and you can see the cohesion, you can see the continuity, everybody's healthy come playoff time, I think that's a W for Chicago.
Yeah, man. The way I look at it is like this, third time's a charm. I mean, we saw last year Miami in the play-in, and they ran it up and got to the finals.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they're going to make it to the finals this year, but what I'm saying is that all things are fluid in the Eastern Conference. You just never know. I mean, obviously we got the two top teams, but outside of outside of Milwaukee and Boston, I mean, who's really scaring you? And so at that point, I'm thinking, all right, it's a possibility. The Bulls could possibly make some noise in the East. I think they'd be better than last year. And now they got a point guard that they kind of have that's developed, and Kobe White in their system. So I definitely think it's going to be a positive year. We'll see.
What's your thoughts,
think,
kid?
I think ultimately it follows what AK has actually done in the past. You look at what Denver Nuggets did in the past and how he built that team and the pieces he added around it. He slowly but surely built that team and gave everybody the opportunity to really earn their spot. Now, here's the thing. A lot of them performed well.
Yeah.
And so, there does beg the question, are these players going to perform and live up to that same hype? I mean, there's even a famous interview of their coach. His name is slipping my mind. But when Jamal Murray first got injured, one of Jamal Murray's first concerns was, are you going to trade me? Or are you going to get rid of me? Because he felt like he hadn't lived up to the expectation, realistically, and didn't have enough opportunity. He thought he was damaged goods. And they stuck with him. And they didn't have to, realistically. I mean, the player even knew it was a chance they didn't have to. And so I think a lot of players on this team are in that position. Patrick Williams could have considered himself damaged goods, being hurt his second season, coming back and not living up to the number 4 overall, right? And some people's mine's included. I mean, we called him a bust at one point, and he didn't live up to it. Kobe White, 4 or 5 seasons in, this is the first time, and it's only been an offseason where you say, man, he looks really good. But we really were up and down about what he could really do on the court. And so, like, rolling with them and giving that confidence, I think will give going the development route will give them a lot of confidence, and I think that plays a part into the level of success and camaraderie they're going to have. But in the league where it's really like parity and all star driven and stuff like that, you gotta wonder, like, does Dame coming in and everything like that, the shifts that's happened, is that going to work in the East like it worked in the West when you have a generational talent like Jokic to do what he does? We don't have that generational talent, so it may not pay off the same, but I think we'll be a better team overall. Sorry for the long answer.
No, I mean, listen, I agree with you, and that's kind of where I'm at with it. I do think that this season will pay off for the Bulls. I think that for me, you're talking about it paying off in the development route, right? You've stuck with a guy over 5 years now in Kobe White, who me and Kia would talk about him earlier, right? Like, he started off his career being a 12-point and then a 15-point per game guy. All they were asking him to do was go out there and shoot shots. He didn't really have a good handle, wasn't able to work on his handle in the offseason. I mean, when you're sitting there talking about who Kobe White was and literally going back to him being our starting point guard. I mean, we were at a point where we were like, he's a 2 guard and it's clear. Like, he can't play point in the NBA. His work that he put in the offseason, now being able to come back and be able to play that 2-guard position, a little inconsistent with the 3-point shot, but then working on the handle, working on the IQ, working on being able to find people. Now you're taking him into his year 5, but this I guess big 3. Can we just call them 3? They're kind of a regular 3. They're not really a big
medium.
They're like
mid 3.
Normal. I don't think they mid 3. The mid 3
how about a decent
sounds terrible, but medium.
The mid 3 sounds disrespectful. That 3 guys play basketball together for more than 2 years for the Chicago Bulls, right? Like, that's kind of how I feel about it, though, right? Like, when you see those 3 on the court, Kobe knows how each one of those guys operates. He knows where they like the basketball at. He knows how to get the ball to DeMar DeRozan, where Zach LaVine wants to be on catch and shoot, how to get the ball down to Vooch, right? Like, those are things that you want to see pay off. And I'm not going to lie to you. Listen, for me, with the Chicago Bulls coming into this season, I think at top, you're talking about a 46 win season, right? Maybe 46 to 48 wins, maybe if that's your best, right? And that could be the best that you can go out there and get. But if I'm looking at a 46 win season where you're possibly the 5th seed, and it's because of improvements from Kobe White that are adding into what Zach LaVine is doing, and Patrick Williams is all of a sudden turning himself into a little bit better player. I think that that's something that you look at and you say, yeah, it's only 46 wins. Maybe that's not much better, but the young guys are a part of that. That is a payoff in my book as far as development, as far as keeping guys involved long term. I mean, like I think that's the best case scenario for this season.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, 46 wins is literally what I wrote down as something that I could see them possibly getting to. And if they're 5th seed, I think that's a success when you consider everything that's put against them. You know, the experts pretty much saying that they think they're going to be 10th seed, maybe 9th seed, maybe play in, maybe, which is wild to me when you think about it. I honestly look at the fact that Kobe's development and then Patrick not getting that contract, that's going to be key, because now it's like, okay, you're not getting this money, but the only way you're going to get this money you think you're worth is you showing up and playing the way we expect you to play. And I'll look forward to that, because I think he's going to try to ball out. I'm hoping this is the last time I got hope in Patrick Williams this year. This is the last time.
Oh, I gave that hope up a while ago. At this point, I just hope he becomes a 3-and-D player. You know what I mean? Like I gave up hope on him being this elite Kawhi Leonard type guy a long time ago, boys. Like, but I do think that there's an aspect of the game where, right, like here's the thing: if we get 46 wins and it's off the back of Zach, DeMar, and Vooch, and it's the same way, to me, that's not the same excitement going into next season, because guess what? DeMar and Vooch have a timeline that is not a long-term timeline.
Yeah.
And you have to re-sign DeMar DeRozan at the end of this season. So for me, I want to see the young guys be able to make it. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I think even seeing Julian Phillips this season is going to be a very interesting watch. Yeah. We did the live call in the studio. Me, Jay Clem, Ringo, super producer Joel Holt was there, all of that, right? And at the end of the day, when we were sitting there and left that studio, we were like, hey, that boy kind of quick. And he jumps ridiculously. Like, you got him with the 37th or 38th pick in the draft. Like, you can't be mad at that, seeing that already. And he already looked like he ahead of Dalen Terry to me. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Dalen Terry's a miss. Dalen Terry's a miss. I will say this.
He plays too robotic.
You got to ask yourself, what does continuity give you? Does it give you 6 wins? Because that's what we're saying.
Yeah.
46 wins means betting on continuity, betting on development. If we can get 6 wins out of that, like just 6 additional wins out of that, we're a 46 win team. If we're going based off the metric of where everyone was last season, that would make us 6. That means we avoid a play-in.
Right.
That's a favorable position. And I take that. I'll take that bet any day. Anything that allows me to avoid the play-in, I think that's fool's gold right there. I think if you are in the play-in,
that's tough after last season. Yeah, I mean, like, listen, you know me. I hated the play-in. I literally hated the play-in. I can't keep hating on something that keeps being entertaining and then goes on to send somebody to the NBA Finals with a team that looked gross the whole time they were doing it. Like, at no point were you like, yeah, I'm confident Gabe Vincent is going to knock these threes down, but he did.
But you know what? The one thing I don't like about the play-in is it's devoid of, you know, the NBA playoffs was best of 5, and that's best of 7 in all series. It was like that for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Anybody could get beat once or twice, right? That can happen in a series, but you ain't gonna beat me best out of 5 or best out of 7. You beat me best out of 7, you just a better team, period. But you can. We've seen bad teams in the playoffs get 1 or 2 wins, knowing that they weren't the better team. That's what the play-in does. The 7th seed can be dramatically better than the 10th seed, but you making them play, and I don't feel that.
I get you, but like, wasn't Miami the 7th seed?
Yeah.
Miami,
they barely beat
Miami
us.
And Miami lost the first game.
They lost the first game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a situation where it worked out. They overachieved the entire way. I don't care what nobody says.
How you overachieved to the finals though?
No, they did.
Overachieved the entire way. You got an injured.
They got fortunate that first round.
Hey, nobody on Boston was injured. And Boston had the best defense in the NBA last season.
You know what my stance on Boston has always been.
Listen, they can't go left. Nobody on the team can go left, but that's still the best defense in the NBA last year.
My stance on
Whole
Boston
team
was
to the
they
right.
will never win with that group.
Jeez.
I said
Now
I
they got
don't
an
believe in
expensive
Jason Tatum
Jalen
and
Brown.
Jalen Brown together. I don't.
Don't say that now.
Now might be different. You got KC, KP, and you got Drew Holiday, who's a champion. They brought some veterans in, but the group they had last year, I didn't trust that at all. Please. Still,
Hey, listen. I mean, for me, it's one of those. I want to continue because I don't like to play it. I don't like the concept of it. I don't like the fact that 7-8. Like, to me, it's the NFL, right? The Bears are 2-5 right now, and they have a chance to make the playoffs, like a legitimate chance. Like, if they win their next game, we're talking about the Bears being in the hunt.
you the 10th seed, but you get a chance to play for a play.
You know what I mean? Like, I
don't.
don't like
Go
extending
home.
the playoffs. If you're the 10th seed, you shouldn't be here. We should be talking about draft capital because you got no chance of getting to 8. But it keeps working. And it's kind of gross to me. And every year I'm like, bro, they just got the perfect matchup. You can't keep getting lucky with the matchups, bro. Like they keep getting these perfect matchups that are mad entertaining. I mean, heck, even the Bulls in Miami was entertaining last year. If Billy Donovan don't take out freaking Jimmy Butler, we're talking about the Bulls making the play, or not Jimmy Butler. Don't take out Andre Drummond and Kobe White. We're talking about the Bulls making the playoffs last season. So I don't know, man. Like I think that this Bulls team can actually make the playoffs outright this year. I think they should be able to. And I mean, listen, I give Billy, I guess, a little bit of credit for the fact that he's able to build a top defense with a team that has Zach LaVine, Nikola Vucevic, and DeMar DeRozan starting. And, like they just got to be able to knock down shots this season. That's the biggest thing. The number one thing I want to see the Bulls do is just take 3-pointers. How many times did we talk about the Bulls last season just go, hey, bro, like they just they're not even shooting them. Like they see them and they don't want to take them.
Yeah, it's like those scared.
Can somebody just put it up? Just put it. Somebody besides Kobe White and Zach LaVine. We know they'll take the 3.
Yeah.
Zach LaVine letting that thing fly consistently.
Yeah, Zach LaVine
He's
is
doing a
gonna take that
freakishly
three
good
shot.
job.
He's going to do more of that now because
People don't give Zach credit for the way that he actually performs from the 3-point line. But I'm actually happy to see it. Now, when did you want to break down what our picks were for this season? I know this is kind of like a preview, things of that nature, but
Hey, man,
we want to give some early, predictions on this one. By the way, just to put this out there, we did a fantasy draft last night. I know this wasn't part of the thing. I got to throw this out there though. Victor Wembanyama went number 1 overall in fantasy basketball draft.